The Olin School of Business and/or Babson College in no way endorse this video. Although Babson places only 49th overall in the U.S. News & World Report rankings, it is its entrepreneurship program that has garnered much attention. The U.S. News & World Report has picked Babson as the top entrepreneurship program in the country for the past 16 years running, besting rivals such as Stanford, Harvard, Wharton, and MIT. Babson has also been named the top entrepreneurship program by Entrepreneur Magazine and the Princeton Review. Babson is located about 15 miles outside of Boston in the southwestern suburb of Wellesley, Mass. This location offers fairly easy access to the resources of Boston while maintaining a comfortable distance for study. The Boston area is home to 29 colleges and universities and over 220,000 college students. Although there is a commuter train station about a mile from campus, the most common form of transportation into Boston proper is driving. The campus is comprised of 370 acres of hilly New England woodlands, interspersed with landscaped areas. Babson is unique in that it is solely a business school, and in its emphasis on entrepreneurship. Babson has a total of about 3,400 undergraduate and graduate students enrolled, with 387 enrolled as full-time MBA students and 1,172 as part-time.
Hello, my name is Jonathan Rickard. I am from Washington, D.C., went to Colby College. I'm in the second year of my two-year program here at Babson.
Why did you choose Babson?
I've always been interested in entrepreneurship. This is sort of an entrepreneurial mecca. There's so much entrepreneurial enthusiasm at the school and just lots of interesting and exciting people, and it also has a very international flavor. And with my background, my father was in the Foreign Service. I traveled a lot around the world growing up and have always been interested in that international component. So when I was making my decision about schools, it made a lot of sense. It married the entrepreneurial and this international component together.
Did you consider any other programs?
No, I didn't actually. Yeah, I just sort of came here and visited and fell in love with it, and sort of knew it was love at first sight. I didn't look anywhere else.
Was cost a factor in your decision?
Not so much. Babson actually does a very good job of giving merit-based scholarships. So I was lucky enough to receive a merit-based scholarship. And they actually have a number of, I believe it's like 30 or 40 fellows that are actually paid nearly in full for their work. In return, they do have to give the school they have to work for the school. I think it's about 20 hours a week. So cost wasn't really a factor in my choice.
Do you plan on being an entrepreneur?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm very interested in healthcare and a variety of other industries, and I'm currently writing a business plan for a class specifically in the healthcare financing field.
Why do you want an MBA?
I'm very interested in working for myself and starting a business, so clearly if I were going to get an MBA, just for the sake of perception, it would be a really stupid move. I'm here to learn and to get a practical education, so I think it's extremely valuable. But again, that's my opinion. I think if you're going for some of the bigger jobs out there in the marketplace, some of the Fortune 500 companies, sure, maybe it helps to really have an MBA. But for me in particular, wanting to start my own business, it was more about just learning the skills, learning how to manage people, learning how to lead, and really taking the skills to the next level.
What percentage of your class would you say is serious about entrepreneurship?
I would say at this stage, in the first year there were, I'd say at least a third. Now it's probably around there, a third, maybe 20%. We're very serious about doing it. There's something at Babson that's a great program called the Entrepreneurship Intensity Track, where in your second year you actually work with the blank setter, which is pictured right here behind me, sort of to your left. And it's essentially, it's for people who are very serious about starting a business by themselves, and you apply for it. It's very difficult to get into, and when you do, you partner up with a faculty member, and it's really intense. And it's really a beautifully designed curriculum that takes you through the entire business planning cycle, the process from conception all the way through implementation.
Are business ethics a focus?
Business ethics is definitely are definitely a focus here. There's an ethics component of the curriculum that's mandatory in the first year. Spend a lot of time discussing those different areas in detail, like Sarbanes-Oxley and the new legislation.
Is there anything that you like or dislike about the program?
I would say the first year is a little bit too, it was very difficult. It was very rigorous. I felt like every day was planned, sort of a set curriculum. I think a lot of business schools are that way, but I would have liked to have a little more choice. I'm very interested in entrepreneurship, so it would have been nice to be able to take a little more electives in that area instead of having to take some courses that I was less excited about. I mean, I understand the school is trying to sort of grow everyone's management skills, and everyone comes from different backgrounds, but there were some areas where I was particularly strong in. I felt like I had to it was a little bit redundant. So that level of sort of stringency in the first year was definitely, I think, for me, a disadvantage. As far as other things go, I mean, I think some people who lived on campus who are MBAs have been not super excited about that. I think Wellesley's a little bit remote. I think most people, if you're going to come to Babson, your MBA, you might want to live in Boston. I think that's a good piece of advice.
Do you need a car to go to school here?
Yeah, I think you do need a car. I think you do. If you're a full-time MBA student, you should probably have a car. I would strongly discourage you from living on campus, at least personally, because I think that there's a lot more activities and sort of nightlife and just basically things to do in Boston, and a lot more younger people. But however, it depends on what stage in life you are. I'm a single guy, so it's obviously a little different than someone who's married and has children. I think in that case, the on-campus housing makes a lot of sense. You can't beat the commute.
How heavy is the workload?
I would say in the first year, it's definitely probably 2 hours of preparation for every hour in class.
How have you found the facilities?
There's a great health facility here. It's sort of right behind us. There's a swimming pool, fitness center, indoor track. There are a lot of intramural sports teams. So the school does a good job of sort of integrating us with the undergrads in that capacity. You can play everything from frisbee to volleyball to soccer to flag football, what have you. I would say the Blank Center is an amazing facility. I mean, it's equipped with tons of office space for faculty, and Olin Hall is a tremendous facility as well. It's very up to date and modern. So the facilities are really good.
Is there a strong alumni connection?
There's definitely a strong alumni body. I mean, I think that in my experience, I've been out and tried to, do some research for various business ideas, and have reached out to alumni, and I've been very pleased with the response I've gotten. A lot of people are very quick to call me back and answer any questions I have. And there also is an alumni mentoring program here on campus where you are partnered up with an alumnus or an alumna, and they help you through your job search, or in my case, I became good friends with my alumni mentor. She was great, and we met on a number of occasions, and yeah, it was we developed a nice friendship. So there's definitely a strong alumni base here, and I think it's an area the school really excels at.
Is there anything that surprised you about the program?
I was really shocked at how international the school was. That's something that really I really didn't know. I also was sort of shocked at the level of entrepreneurial enthusiasm on campus. I'd read about it and heard about it, but it's really something else. I mean, there are all sorts of students at all times talking about developing businesses and launching ideas, and there's a really healthy dialogue in all the halls and in the Olin cafeteria, and it's really an exciting place to be. So for me, it's been a really pleasant surprise in that way. Also, I would say I was very surprised with just the down-to-earth nature of people. I mean, again, going back to that collaboration, people here are great, and they really want to see you succeed. And the same with faculty. The faculty are wonderful, and they really go out of their way to meet with you and to take the time. I mean, a lot of schools, I think it's hard to get time with faculty, but faculty here are very accessible, and that's a huge plus.
How bad are the winters?
How are the winters? Oh, the winters are pretty bad. This past winter, I think I dug my car out 6 or 7 times. I wasn't lucky enough to have a garage space, so the winters are pretty bad, but I think it was like the worst winter in 100 years or something. So,
if you weren't here, what would you be doing?
If I weren't in this program, I would be working for a small, socially responsible business. I'm very interested in social entrepreneurship, so I would probably be doing something in that arena, maybe something internationally. So I come from the management consulting world, and I like that. That was all right, but I'm again really interested in working with small enterprise and trying to have a mission that actually furthers the greater good in some way.
How did you get interested in Babson?
I saw that Babson was ranked #1 in entrepreneurship in the U.S. News and World Report, and that really sort of piqued my attention. So I started, looking into it more and more, and then I actually came and visited Babson. It was Founders Day, which is a great Babson tradition. They invite back a lot of famous, on that particular day, there were a lot of famous entrepreneurs on campus, and I immediately just felt at home. So it was a very intuitive sort of decision, and then the people I met were great, and then spoke to faculty, and they were really supportive and just wonderful. So it was sort of an intuitive decision, I guess.
Do you have time to have fun?
I mean, the first year is really jam-packed. It's a really busy curriculum. I think that, you know, like a lot of business schools, it's very intense, and there's a lot of homework and there are a lot of cases. At some points, every night you may be reading, you know, definitely two or three cases, and that takes a lot of time to prepare. But I think, you know, you manage to carve out time to go out and do fun things. I mean, last winter I went skiing a few times. I was up in Maine with my folks when they visited. I definitely had some relaxing weekends as well. So you do manage to find time, and this is a wonderful part of the country to be in. I mean, you have, you know, skiing, you have beaches, you have great sort of just great student life in Boston. I mean, I think I read somewhere that there are 72 universities around Boston and there's something like 600,000 college students. So there's plenty of young people, and there's always you know, great activities, everything from ultimate frisbee to chess clubs if you want that. I mean, you can find anything in Boston, so it's a great place to be.
How would you describe the faculty?
I think one of the things that I haven't talked about is really the quality of the faculty at Babson. I mean, there are faculty members here who run very large companies that started nearly from scratch. You have a ton of expertise, and you have this support network, these people who really want to see you succeed. And that I think is really priceless, to have access, to have that level of access with faculty, with some really leading thinkers in this space. And also I would say the level of pragmatism. I mean, I think there are a lot of curricula out there that are focused really on sort of the academic side of business. You do a lot it's really a lot of writing papers and a lot of sort of arduous academic exercise. Well, Babson is very pragmatic. It's very much focused on trying to give you the skills that you need to be a successful manager, and be a manager who has sort of a global understanding and really be able to take your leadership to the next level. So I think that's really important to note, that it does have that pragmatic flair to it. And you see that in all the classes when they invite in speakers from the outside world to come in and share their experiences, both good and bad. So you really get a good sense of that.
How have you found the recruiting at the school?
I would say that one area where Babson is a little bit weak is in some of the recruiting for some of the very large companies. Babson's a very small school, so if you're the type of person who really wants to go work for McKinsey or really wants to go work for a top-tier company, you're going to have a little bit of a challenge coming from Babson. Granted, I think people in the marketplace realize that Babson has that entrepreneurial spirit, and individuals are very good managers who come out of here, but I think that's an area where we're just given Babson's size, it's very hard to attract recruiters to Babson, because, I mean, why would a recruiter come here when maybe in a meeting they might get 20 or 30 people, when they could go to HBS or another bigger school down the street and have 300 people attending those meetings. So just from that perspective, there's a little bit of a challenge if you're looking for some of those top tier jobs.
What advice do you have for prospective MBA students?
Definitely start early. I would say definitely come and visit the school. There's a great admissions department here. They're more than happy to answer any questions you may have. I would say, pull some students aside and just chat with them about their day and find out sort of, maybe even ask them if you could follow them around to campus or to their classes. I think people are more than willing to sort of act as a tour guide. And other than that, I would say definitely, also ask to reach out to any alumni in the area. I mean, I know the admissions office is very very helpful, and they'll give you some names of people in the area who have gone to Babson. So I think just do your homework and definitely spend some time here, because it's definitely a really special place.